Welcome back to the channel. I mentioned in yesterday's 25-minute long clip that I'm going to be replacing the center console in here. I picked the part up from BMW today. It was a total of $335. The part number and price and all the numbers you're looking for will be in the box below the video, but they told me to go ahead and put it in. It was supposed to be a Christmas present. It kind of still is. So we're just going to do it now, a month early. Merry Christmas. I've got my install helper here. We know him. So we're going to actually need to start back here in the E39 5 Series with a couple screws that you're going to find after removing some of the, well, crap back here. So to get this out, at least on my car, has always been real easy. I can just carefully pull this out and the entire cup holder assembly comes off. You may need a prying tool to get in there. So we'll set this aside. But after you get this off, you have the vents, which are just going to slide down and out. That would be a great time to clean all this stuff if you want to. And then that exposes two Phillips head screws here on the center console. So we'll go ahead and take those out and I'll be right back. With those screws out, this entire armrest piece comes right off. If you followed my installation of how to replace this piece, then you'll probably already know that. So we can just set that aside and note that taking that off reveals two more screws here. We're going to stay in the back of the car for a minute, but there's two screws right there, same Phillips head. We'll just pull those out and then we'll move up to the front seat. Up here in the front, we're going to need to remove the, well, we don't actually have to take it off, but we do need to take the boot off here, which involves pulling it, I think it's inwards towards the shifter and up. It's just fastened by clips. As you can see, that came out relatively easily. That is going to reveal yet more screws, same Phillips screws here. There's one on the right and one on the left, so we'll remove those and be right back. From here, we need to move this piece of insulative trim out from around there. There's a lot of wires here. If you've got the M5 you're working with this, you're going to have the power cable that goes to your illuminated shift boot. But under there, we can just get our fingers and press up on the hazards button and the central locking button, and you'll see they just come right out. And there's one more screw down there, and we do need to take the wiring power cables off of these wires. So we'll do that in a second. On the hazards light here, we just simply pushed the data cable, or the power cable, down towards the rest of the unit and pulled out. And the locking switch cable, I have had this out of here before to clean it. This looks like it's going to take some fussing with. We'll let you know. With the help of a small flat screwdriver, it looks like we had to push in from the side and then pull it straight out. It's just 4 pins for the central locking button. Now that we've got those out, just put them in your door pocket or somewhere safe where you won't lose them. And there is the last screw. Note this one is a bright metal color as opposed to the ones that are painted black. So we'll just unscrew that. Again, put it somewhere safe. Make sure you've emptied your little drawer here. We will be taking this off this one and putting it on the new piece, as well as your ashtray. We'll have to figure out how the little piece in there comes apart. And then this piece, the entire console trim, is just going to lift upwards and outwards. A couple more clips holding it in. There are some wires that we're going to have to get to down here. If we move the trim out of the way, there's a big wiring cable in here. See if we can get the camera down there. I don't know what it goes to. I think it just goes through the car and gets to the back seat lights or something back there. That entire thing twists within this assembly and then pulls out like that. So it's just kind of twisted in there. Console comes up. We find the screw that hopefully I dropped down there a couple of minutes ago. And then there's one more data cable or wiring or electrical cable. This goes to the light inside the ashtray, and we'll figure out how to pull that out of here. Taking the little slide roller door here out is as easy as hitting it from the back a couple of times, and then it just slides right out like this. You might take this opportunity to clean a couple things in here, vacuum out your console. It's pretty simple. So we'll be sliding that in the new one momentarily. We've got quite the dramatic difference here between the two pieces. The finish on the right, obviously the new piece, is really vibrant. What do you say, Kenan? How's it look?
I think the new piece is going to look brilliant.
Oh yeah, so we'll put this in now, we'll go through the steps. It's essentially the reverse process of what we just did, taking this one out. You can see the ashtray door was the main reason I replaced this monstrosity. It looks pretty bad, and this one is absolutely beautiful. So hopefully we'll be able to keep it in this condition. We will be putting this piece back in. The new one, it's just going to slide in actually from the top, just as the other one came out. And we'll get back in the car now and wire this thing in. Alright, so we just slid this back in. We slid this through the top. Now we'll close this. Reverse process begins. Now we'll slide it around the shift boot. Okay, first wires that we want to put on would be the lighting for the that whatever you call that thing, which is found here. It's the purple one, and it is going to connect into the purple one right there. It's a little short, so you've kind of got to get it down here and feel around to put it in. Okay, so now we can just feed the wires up through the holes here for the hazards switch. Note that's the black tip wire, and the white one is for the central locking system. And then back over here, we need to torque that plastic clip back into the hole on the plastic here. You probably don't have to do that, but it would just keep things a little bit more orderly down here, if I can even find it. Done. Now we'll slide this down, make sure everything matches up, lines up. We'll get those buttons in, and then we'll just put those screws back in and we're done. Plugging the electrical cables back in is, well, hopefully pretty simple, if we can figure out. Yep, they're working. So we just plug that back in. Make sure you replace the screw down there before you snap it down in like I was about to do. Then just line it up, make sure your triangle's pointed the right way, and give it a push. And it snaps right back in. Then we'll put the other switch back on, same process, and push it back down in the hole. With all the screws back in the front successfully screwed back into place, we can slide this back on. There's kind of two pins that fit inside some holes. We'll move it up and replace these screws here in the back seat. Making sure your wire is still connected here in the back seat. I'm just going to slide that down into the ductwork that brings the air back here. Push it back up, and that seems to be held in place by the cup holders, which for me just go in like that on the bottom. Move this up, give it a push, you'll figure it out. There it is. We're done. Less than about 10 minutes. Installation made a huge difference on this car. I've been meaning to replace that ever since we got this vehicle back in 2010, and now it looks phenomenal. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helped you out. Talk to you in the next video.